voice of the Central New York sports fan, The Score, 1260. Welcome to your home for local sports in Syracuse. Outside the Box Score with Mark Rowlands starts right now.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Jim said in the chat, the boycott is over. Josh Boheim is back in the studio, ladies and gentlemen.
Boycott.
Yeah, this
was boycott.
You were. It was a self-imposed boycott of the show.
It was a wage strike. It was
wage. We had a wage disagreement,
contract dispute.
But yeah, Josh is back. Got a new 5-year, $15 million contract.
It feels good
with the Score 1260. So he's back. That's just the contract that the Tennessee baseball coach got.
$15 million a year?
No.
In dollars.
$3 million a year.
But still like a lot.
It's still easily the highest paid coach in college baseball.
Is Tennessee's program that good?
They just won it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they just won the College World
Shows
Series.
How much I pay attention.
Tony Vitello. Jim says, like golf, Josh self-imposed his penalty.
Yep. That's right.
Yep, an honest man, self-imposed penalty, but he's back.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to have him back in studio. I needed him to be back this week because one of the things we're going to talk about, among many things, we're going to talk college football and all that good stuff, but one of the many things we're going to discuss today is the career and legacy of one Joseph Votto, a longtime first baseman for the Cincinnati Reds, announced his retirement early this year. Josh is our resident Cincinnati Reds fan, and so we're going to talk I think, quite a bit about Joey Votto because I was just putting together before the show an interesting comparison game that we can play with Votto.
Okay.
And maybe to curb some of the doubters of Joey Votto's career because, in my opinion, he's a no doubt Hall of Famer, one of the best first basemen to ever play the game.
But he was never better than Pujols.
Yeah, okay. See, those are the people that make me mad.
Yeah, they have to be the best at their position the entire time they play.
Yeah,
or they're not Hall of Famer.
Yeah, people will say oh, he wasn't even the best first baseman in the NL Central. It's no, the best first baseman of all time was in the NL Central at the same time. That guy hit 700 home runs.
Yeah, dude. I mean, what are we talking about? The comparison game, you can play it all the time. I'm excited. To see what you got cooked up.
Yeah, I've got 3 other players that we're going to compare Joey Votto to in a certain, the peak of their career. It's a 9-10 year stretch for all 4 of the players that we're going to talk about some of the numbers. It's going to be a very baseball-filled show today outside of college football. We're going to get into the full college football slate for today, starting, of course, at 12 o'clock, live from the homeland, Dublin, Ireland. And the 2 most Irish teams in the world, Florida State and Georgia Tech, facing off in Ireland.
Dude, what? They had it so right last year. Notre Dame just needs to be on week 0 every year.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
And it was, who'd they play last year? Was it Navy?
Florida? It might have been Navy.
Because they play Navy every year.
Might have been. Why was I thinking Florida? Maybe it's just because Florida State's playing this year.
Maybe I'll look it up. It was Notre Dame Navy, which is an all-time rivalry.
Sure.
2 teams that play each other every single year, and you have the Fighting Irish essentially playing in front of the home crowd. Irish people don't watch college football, and they all love Notre Dame.
Right. Did you see yesterday they were doing the whole pregame basically on the McAfee show?
Mm-hmm.
McAfee got
hammered.
Sheamus was there from the WWE. Yep. He's pouring pints.
He's the guest picker on game day today.
They love Sheamus.
Yeah.
Dude, TKO does a lot for this company. TKO has changed a lot of things. But no, it's exciting. This is a fun time, and I just don't understand why the Irish aren't there.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
They should just be there every year. If you're gonna start it in Ireland every year, it should just be Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Notre Dame Navy every year. Send Ohio State out there make it a good game.
Right.
First of all, and Florida State, Georgia Tech. I know a lot of people are high on Georgia Tech this year,
Mhm.
and I've got to see it to believe it. It's Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I'd agree with that statement.
And Pat is now in chat. He agrees it needs to be Notre Dame. It doesn't make any sense that Notre Dame doesn't play that game. Agreed.
That would be like if that became a regular thing. People like Pat, who are just big Irish fans,
Yeah.
would just make that a destination spot.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, one time I gotta go see him in Ireland.
Exactly.
It becomes
a bucket list item.
Yes.
It's I'm happy I get to cross one of my sports bucket list items off this year. I'm going to the game, Ohio State, Michigan,
Really?
in Columbus.
Wow.
I'll be in attendance for that, and I'm super excited. That's been on my sports bucket list forever, is to go to that game. I always wanted to go see it in the big house, but the horseshoe will be fine.
Doesn't matter.
And it's so I'll be in attendance for that game. But that's something that I've thought about for years. Is like at some point I'm going to go to the Ohio State Michigan game
Next year. I mean, you may cross another one off.
Yeah.
When the Ryder Cup comes.
Absolutely.
To Bethpage.
Yeah, that's another one. Is
It's
I
beyond-
want to see a Ryder Cup, and this is the perfect opportunity next year.
It would grow to that level if you made it a thing every
Yeah.
year. And it was already there. If you did it this year, by next year, people are already going, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta be there.
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense.
Jim brought up, and I think this would be Masters is on the bucket list, but it's such a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Shout out the Burke family going to the Masters next year.
They got the raffle?
Yeah,
they won the raffle?
Yeah, they got in the lottery.
Wow.
How
many tickets do you get with that?
I think they have 4.
Oh, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
Leave mom at home and
Yeah,
get
exactly.
the kids out
The
there with
the
pops.
boys go down to Augusta. Not a
Oh.
bad weekend.
Hell yeah.
I don't remember what day Pat told me they were going, but did you get a ticket for a specific day?
The practice round on
It,
Tuesday?
it might be Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, really?
Which I think Wednesday is a great day to go. The par 3.
Oh, true.
I think that's a
didn't
really
think about that.
I think that's a really cool day to go. But Jim brought up this would be a great one. Notre Dame, Syracuse, and Ireland.
Sure.
With the Irish population around here, I mean, just look at people like the Burks. There are so many Notre Dame fans in this area. I know 25 diehard Notre Dame fans, all from Syracuse.
Right.
And that would be like one of the most attended college football games ever. I mean, that'd be one. It's like the Pearl Washington game where he hit the buzzer beater against Boston College. How there's 35,000 some odd people that fit into the dome, and 80,000 people said they were there. And it would be like that forever. It's like, yeah, I
went to Dublin.
I was at the Notre Dame Syracuse game in Dublin, and then every single person you know says they were there, and it's like, I saw you that day. We were
down at the pub.
Yeah, we were here watching the game together. No, you weren't.
It was crazy. Got in that night. What?
But yeah, so Florida State, Georgia Tech, sure, let them play in Ireland. But after this, college football, learn from your mistakes and just put Notre Dame there every single year.
Couldn't agree more.
We're going to get into the rest of the slate. Like I said, big baseball show today as well. But we do have to take a timeout, got to pay the bills. So we'll be back in just a moment here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260.
Gotta
For
pay
the
my
best
bills.
local beer in Central New York, the only place you need to look is Myers Creek Brewing Company, with 16 different beers on tap at both the Inner Harbor in Syracuse and the Palace that is the Casanova location. Myers Creek has something for everyone. Want a bite to eat? Both locations feature a kitchen with delicious pizzas, some of the best wings in Syracuse, and much more. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar of Outside the Box Score.
We're buying whatever you're selling at the DB Vehicle Buying Center. Just ride into the buying center, get a fast, generous appraisal, turn that.
Yep, Jim, we are on time for the first one. We'll see how that keeps up with Josh back.
I got a whole thing written up. I got a notes page.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll make sure to keep the break short then.
I called up Called up Monroe today, get some work done on the car out in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And I called to be like, yeah, I'm just, what can I do you? And I'm like, I just, got to get an appointment, get some work done on the car. He goes, yeah, just bring it in anytime. And I was like, well, it's just set up a thing. He's like, just bring it in, man. I'm like, okay, pretty light load they got working down at the Monroe these days.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, you can't make Indians do everything for you.
No.
So that's a thing.
Just bring it in whenever. I don't care. Thanks, Pat. Classic Pat. Mark, you look like crap.
Like crap. I mean, he's a dapper young man. What are you talking about?
Pat has never complimented me a day in our lives. Yeah, that's not true. Every once in a while, he'll give me a compliment, just to catch me off guard, and then it sets me up for the inevitable
You look
insult
good
that
today.
will
Like, oh,
follow.
really? No, you idiot.
He said I do look better than normal.
Okay.
Which still isn't great.
And of course, I'm.
Yeah, Josh is trying to go golfing in a t-shirt and gym shorts after this.
Yeah, that's.
So.
We canned that.
Yeah. Oh, it did. Canned it.
Canned it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of buzz around the coworkers, Mark. That I got I think 3 times this week they were like, yeah. So how's the podcast going? I'm like, well, it's not a podcast. It's a radio show. I haven't been on it in months, but they don't know that. And I'm like, oh, it's a radio show. And they're like, oh, and the one lady's like, how's that wrestling podcast? And I'm like, not a wrestling podcast. Nope, it's not. Because I gave out some fun facts at one point that I was on a radio show and both attended WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And so in her mind, which nice that she remembered a little bit.
Yeah.
She was like, I was the wrestling podcast. I'm like,
fair association.
Yeah.
Also, Jim's going to Augusta. His brother hit.
What? I mean, they let anybody into this place?
Everyone's going to Augusta except me.
I get a press pass. How do I get a press pass?
Oh, they never let me into Augusta.
We gotta really start mooching that more. Where else could we get into? You think? Nothing big, maybe.
I mean, I can get into any other PGA Tour event. I just can't get into the majors. But like a standard tour event, I can get into.
You don't think a Ryder Cup?
Nah, Ryder Cup would be
too
tough.
much.
Yeah. But I've been thinking about one of these years. I'm going to do the Memorial. I'm going to do Jack's tournament. Go out to Ohio.
Yeah. That's a good timing too, though. Right before the Open, right? U.S. Open.
Yeah, it's like the week before. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260, joined by Josh Boheim. Man, that for a while I called my co-host, and then he disappeared for 2 months.
The first time we talked in months, like not only was I not on the show, I've been DOA.
Yeah.
And the first time we talked about it, I go, oh, there's my co-host. I'm like, oh, I'm still the co-host. That's nice. That's good to know.
I was just happy to know you were still alive.
Well, the heart's sweet these days.
The only proof I had that you were still alive was getting the 18 birdies notifications that you were always playing around. Funnily enough, at 11 a.m. on Saturdays. But I do want to talk, Josh, in your area of expertise here, the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
Go ahead and just wax poetic on the career and legacy of, I'm assuming one of, if not your favorite Reds of all time.
Yeah, definitely.
Joey Votto.
The favorite Red, first jersey
Mm-hmm.
ever got outside of well, that's not true actually. I think I got Adam Dunn back in
Oh,
the
the
day.
big donkey.
I might have gotten an Adam Dunn. The first jersey I cared about, first jersey I ever bought for myself.
Mm-hmm.
The jersey I look for, if I was going to one Reds game anytime, that's the one you wear.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you describe Joseph Daniel Votto? You know what I mean? I mean, he is just not only on the field, right, and what he meant to Cincinnati to just be a consistent, quality ball player that is hard to find in that neck of the woods a lot of the time. Well, at least after 1990.
Yeah.
And so something that he brought to that city is great. And then the personality that he grew into, I mean, even when he was starting, he always had just not a cockiness, but like he wanted to play there.
Yep.
He loved playing the game, and he didn't mind being the bad guy in other cities. He even talks about this all the time now afterwards. In his retirement post, he was like, thanks for all the booze. I loved it. It got me going. Like, you could tell that he loved just beating other teams.
He loved going to Pittsburgh and just trouncing the Pirates.
He loved being a Red. He loved screwing with kids who were wearing Cubs jerseys and faking them out with balls. I mean, that's, if he's on the other team, it's just the classic. If that guy's on your team, you love him. If you're playing him, you probably hate him.
Yeah.
and just a great guy to root for. I don't know how the debate is the debate. The numbers are the numbers. I'm with you. He'd go in the Hall if I was voting.
Mhm.
I mean, just a guy that's been able to do it all in his career. The on base percentage, the stolen MVP in 2017.
Yep.
All of it. All of it. All because a guy hit 60 home runs. We see a guy do
Not
it now
even 54, I think, or 57. It was
Yeah.
57.
We see a guy hit 60 every season now.
Yeah.
And he's not winning MVPs.
Yeah.
So it's garbage. Okay. I love him. I love him. There's nothing more to say.
And he's one of those guys that, for people like me who are just baseball sickos
Yeah,
and had MLB Network on, like, just on a loop in the house for a
Mhm.
number of years. I still watch it all the time.
Sure.
He would go on Intentional Talk, hosted by Chris Rose and Kevin Millar, back when Rosie was still at MLB Network. Now he's
Okay.
with John Boy. And I remember one time he went on there to do an interview at Great American Ballpark,
Mm-hmm.
like using the cameras there, in a full Mountie outfit.
Yeah.
Like, just fully dressed up as a Mountie. And that's something, too, that a man that loves his Canadian heritage and is very proud of the fact that he's Canadian and played for Canada in the World Baseball Classic and loved representing his country to, I mean, you were just in Toronto for a Blue Jays game.
Yep.
And baseball fans are a little different.
You
Because,
on it now?
well, we can get on your rant later, but all in all, a fan base that is less dedicated to the sport.
They love the Blue Jays. And
They
I will
love
give
the
them
Blue
that.
Jays.
9th in attendance this year.
Yeah.
Consistently do well. They pack the house for their Blue Jays. And I respect that to an extent. You know, they know that. But the game itself, you're right, is a different thing to them.
Yeah. It's almost like it's an excuse to get out, have a couple of bats.
It's a spectacle.
Yeah.
It's a spectacle.
Yeah.
The Labatt's point, well, we're still I'm holding back a little bit, but Labatt, the MLB has a market that I think they control what's in that stadium even. You can't find a Canadian beer in Toronto.
They don't have Labatt's in the stadium?
They might have had a Molson. Honestly, no, I don't think they did. They had Budweiser, Bud Light, Stella, Corona. I'm like, we're in Canada. Give me a blue. All right, sorry.
Nothing like going to Canada and drinking an ice cold Corona.
I blame Manfred.
Yep,
It's
I
Manfred.
also blame Manfred. That place would be even more insane if they sold Labatt's, though. So, I want to play a little game here.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Joey Votto's stats from 2008 to 2017.
Okay.
Just going to go through some of the big ones.
Yep.
So, slash line of 313, 429, 540. Good for a 970 OPS, a 159 OPS plus. He had 253 home runs and 813 RBI. Good for a 162 game average of 29 and 93. To go along with 39 doubles.
That's pretty good.
Per 162.
Right,
He
right,
averaged 141 games a season because in 2014 he was hurt. He only played 62 games, only 111 in 2012, 131 in 2009. So dealt with some injuries in his career.
Sure.
But for that span, that's a 10-year span.
Yeah.
Those are Hall of Fame numbers. I mean, 159 OPS plus is like inner circle Hall of Fame for some guys. I've got three other.
What's his WAR? Do we have a WAR?
His career WAR is 64 and a half.
Is that good?
Yes.
For that? Okay. That's
the
a big stat these days.
the joke is as long as it's higher than Harold Baines, who is like 42.
What is, by the way, quickly, a stat thing, what is MVR?
I've never heard of that.
It was next to hits, runs, errors, LOB, left on base, I get that. MVR was shown in Toronto this week.
No idea.
So weird Canadian, I've never seen that either.
Yeah, never heard of it.
All right.
This is, I'm not gonna. We'll
Don't
play a
say
little.
the name.
We'll play a little guessing game here.
Okay.
So this is three guys, one in the Hall of Fame,
Okay.
one retired but not yet eligible but will be a first ballot, and a contemporary of Votto, a guy that's still playing.
Okay.
This is the contemporary, a man that people widely consider to be a Hall of Fame.
I think I got to guess. Yep.
310 average, 400 on base, 539 slugging, 939 OPS, OPS plus of 150, 234 home runs, 792 RBI, 341 doubles, good for a 162 game pace of 44 doubles, 30 bombs, 102 ribbies. This is over a 9-year stretch.
Okay. Is this guy a Cardinal?
No.
Oh, really? I thought you would go there. So, okay, he's pretty good. First baseman, played for 9 years. Same team
2 different teams.
in this time.
Yeah.
This is gonna haunt me because it should probably be pretty easy to think of who's one of the best first basemen in the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get a conference? A league?
National League.
National League.
Both teams he's played for in the National League. 2 different divisions.
Oh, why did I make it a guessing game? This is just gonna be embarrassing. Right, this is the easy one.
Yeah, this is the guy
Oh.
playing right now. And this year is hitting 287 with 17 home runs and 73 RBI.
In the National League.
Yeah. Also has 1 MVP like Votto.
And it's not Paul Goldschmidt.
No. It's the other one. It's the other National League first baseman. Lefty.
Yeah, keep just Rizzo?
No.
No, he's in American
Yeah.
League right now. Ah,
He's on the most stacked roster in baseball.
Dodger?
Yeah. That's why you might forget about him, is because he's like the 4th best player on the Dodgers. And he's unbelievable.
I couldn't even tell. Oh, Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, it's Freddie Freeman. So those numbers are like identical.
Sure.
And Votto's got 1 more year in there, which explains the 20 more home runs and a few more RBI. But everything else is like pretty damn close.
With a guy like Freeman, this doesn't happen as much in baseball, but is there the rings argument at all in baseball?
No,
Do you find
not
that?
really. And Jim says, when does Mark read Mattingly's stats? I thought about putting Mattingly's stats in here,
Yeah.
but they're not that comparable. Because Mattingly, Votto was never a huge power hitter, but
Yeah.
Mattingly was even like another tier below in terms of power.
Right.
Mattingly, very close to being a Hall of Famer. I think it's a very interesting argument you can make for Donnie Baseball. Do you want the more recent guy who isn't eligible yet, or do you want the Hall of Famer?
Give me the chance. Give me the chance.
Okay. And granted, the Hall of Famer played in our lifetime,
Oh,
so it's not some old school guy. This is in a 10-year stretch, just
Mhm.
like the one I gave for Votto. Same number of years. 324 average, 403 on base, 573 slugging, good for a 976 OPS.
a little bit better.
It's slightly better. 157 OPS plus, 2
Yes.
points below Votto's. Granted, he did hit 353 home runs with almost 1,200 RBI. So the power numbers significantly higher. Average same, or just about same number of doubles though. 391 doubles
Okay.
for this player compared to Votto's, or 337 for Votto. But in terms of average,
And
they average the same.
he just retired and he's waiting for the Hall.
Will be a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Fame. Might get 100% of the vote.
Might get 100% of the vote.
It's going to be close.
Is it who we talked about beforehand?
No, it's not Pujols.
I was gonna say that seemed even low for him.
Yeah.
Not Pujols. Slam dunk. Can I get a league he was most common in?
Spent most of his career in the American League.
And when did he retire? Can I know that?
Last year.
Jesus. First baseman.
Also, first baseman majorly towards the end of his career did spend time in other positions as well. Played some third, played some left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, Mark. I got nothing.
Back-to-back MVP. Triple Crown winner Miguel Cabrera.
Wow. Okay, so the power's there.
The power's there, but in terms of on-base slugging, pretty similar. 976 OPS for Cabrera, 970 for Votto.
He's a guy that might get in, like you were just saying, when you alluded to those peak years thing, though. I mean, Triple Crown winner,
Yeah,
back-to-back MVPs.
I'm not going to sit here and say Joey Votto was just as good of a hitter as Miguel Cabrera because that's not true. Miguel Cabrera is one of the 5 best right-handed hitters to ever play Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
But when you look at the numbers like that, just like, and that's Miggy's peak. That's 2004 to 2013. That includes this last year of that is the second MVP, the year after the Triple Crown. So those are his absolute peak numbers.
This is embarrassing.
And then the Hall of Famer, I don't know if you'll get this one just because
the first two.
Well, he's like kind of forgotten about at times. This is a 9-year stretch.
Okay.
Average 321, 438 on base, 558 slugging, 996 OPS. So the OPS significantly higher, but the OPS plus 159, identical to Votto's. 235 home runs, 930 RBI.
Okay, about the same power.
Yeah. 339 doubles, which is just 2 more than Votto, but like I said, in 1 year
Pretty
less.
identical stats here.
Very, very, very similar statistics.
And he was a what league would he most?
American League, all one team.
All one team, first baseman.
Yep. Well, no.
Not a first baseman.
He's a DH.
Okay. Is it Frank Thomas?
No.
Okay.
This guy came up as a third baseman, but wasn't really anything in the field, so he just became a DH.
Trying to think of those guys who would just be DHs, and it can't be. And he played in our lifetime, you said.
Oh yeah. Retired in 2004, but played in our lifetime.
Okay, so not someone I was thinking about.
No, we weren't like actively watching.
Sure,
guy.
but he was playing.
Yeah.
No, he played first. Damn, American League. What about throw me a division even? See if I can at least pick one. Christ. Okay, West. We have the Astros. Oh no, we don't have the Astros.
No, that's when they were in the National League.
I know we don't.
Yeah.
And the first team I know.
The first team. Nope. Yep.
No,
you're wrong.
Not them. Maybe the A's.
Yeah.
Damn, Marky, who is it?
Edgar Martinez.
Oh, I was at the Hall the year he got inducted.
Yep.
Along with Mo and Roy Halladay.
Yeah.
That was a good year.
Yeah, it was a very good class. Edgar Martinez. So a guy that took way too long to get into the Hall of Fame because of the DH thing, but widely regarded as, he was an unbelievable hitter. Walked more than he struck out. Had a great eye at the plate. Just similar to Votto, never hit for that much power.
Yep.
Career high in home runs was 37 in 2000. Also, interesting about Edgar Martinez, his 10-year peak was from age 32 to 41, which is when he retired.
Wow.
Really, the 9-year peak I chose was 1995 to 2003, age 32 to 40.
Is that?
And it was easily the best stretch of his career.
Really?
Yep.
That is now he was also probably playing with the best team during that time, right?
Yeah. Oh, the 01 Mariners was a team that won 116 games. Edgar's got the famous double down the line that scores Griffey against the Yankees in the playoffs. I want to say that was in 95.
Okay, so that is an impressive stretch there for a newer guy.
Yeah.
Because to think that we looked up the Willie Mays stats the one time, we're like, he was doing this at 41.
Yeah, he was 42 hitting 38 home runs.
Yeah. But for a 90s guy, okay.
Yeah. Damn. But so those are 3 guys that everyone agrees are Hall of Fame. When Edgar Martinez got in, no one was like, I don't know. Everyone was like, this took way too long.
Well, that's I think Votto's why I think he has a good shot at being in the Hall, even if it's not first ballot, is that in my mind, people don't get in the Hall when they piss off writers, right?
Yeah.
Something that some old guy, he did a steroid, or he called me a whatever.
You were about to get into the reason why Jeff Kent isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he called me a Jalen Duran slur back in '96. Anyways, one of those things, or it's the numbers, and I think the numbers are there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times Joey Votto did something to really irk people. Like, I think he's generally speaking, especially towards the end, like I said, when he was early on, he was kind of liked playing the bad guy,
Yeah.
and that could have rubbed people the wrong way. But the last 5 to 10 years of his career, he was the happiest guy to play baseball
Absolutely.
in the league.
He has so much fun.
Even 2 years ago when he was out all year
Yep.
with that injury, and he was like in the booth for the Reds some
Yeah.
days. He was doing like, in the ballpark
Yeah.
in between innings things.
It was
Like,
great.
he's just such a nice guy, great for the game.
Mhm.
That type of thing, which shouldn't necessarily matter all that much. Like, I think I'm leaning into that because I want him to get into the Hall, when ultimately, like, I don't think it should matter that
But
much.
it is in the criteria.
Sure.
For Hall of Fame voting, it's the character clause, which
Yeah.
I think is like Rule 24 of the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I wrote a whole article about why the character clause is a bunch of BS back when I used to write for a baseball website.
It's where you mean to be.
Yeah, and it was, yeah, so that is like a part of voting that they're told to look at, which is why guys like Bonds, Clemens, even without the the concrete evidence that they were steroid users, they were also just jerks.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help your case. Same with A-Rod. Like, A-Rod was just kind of a jerk to the media when he played.
Yep.
And so that is a big part of it. And there is, in Jim saying we missed the break. Yeah, I know.
What are you talking about, Jim?
We're going to take a break in a second, but something about Votto that is really interesting that we were sort of talking about before the show is his late career turnaround.
Yes.
Into trying to be the slugger. So in 2018 and 19, he played 145 and 142 games and hit 12 and 15 home runs.
Yeah.
The power had disappeared when, after 2017, like you said, when the MVP was stolen from him by Giancarlo Stanton, he had 36 with 100.
Sure.
And so he gets hurt in 2020, and it's like, all right. He had 11 home runs through 54 games, so the power was up a little bit.
Right.
But in 2021, he said, screw it. I'm just going to hit bombs.
Yeah.
And hit 36 home runs again in 129 games. So it's sort of the thing where this was always talked about with Ichiro.
Mm-hmm.
They always said if Ichiro wanted to hit 30 home runs a year, he would hit 30 home runs a year. And Votto kind of did the same thing.
Yep.
And he said, no, I just want to hit nukes again. Joey still bangs. That was the whole thing.
Bangs. Yeah.
Joey still bangs. And he banged.
Yeah.
Joey banged.
Being that incredible of a hitter to just be able to be like, yeah, I'm going to go hit home runs.
I'm just going to pull the ball.
Yeah.
He's like, screw it. I'm just going to pull the ball all the time now. And the average dipped. He had a 266 average, which is very un-Votto-like. Like I said, he had 313 in that 10-year stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But the on-base was 375, which is lower than the career, but I mean, that's a great on-base percentage. 375 is,
Yeah, look at the walk. I mean, that's the thing.
Upper echelon in terms of, Major League Baseball. And he had a 563 slugging, which is higher than that peak number. He's still at a 938 OPS and a 139 OPS plus at the age of 37.
Just trying to hit news.
Just trying to hit bombs.
What a guy. I hope he gets it.
I really do too. For me, like I said, slam dunk, one of the great first basemen I've ever seen. And Dawson, he did win a Gold Glove. He won the MVP, 6 All-Star selections. Never won a Silver Slugger, which is weird.
Hitting, did he have a 40 home run season?
No, 36 is his career high, or 37 is his career high in 2010 when he won the MVP.
But I think, to end for my thing here, next year, it can't be next year. By the time he'll be up on the ballot, Pete Rose will have died. And that's when they'll be able to put him in the Hall of Fame. They will put both of them in together. And make it a big Cincinnati year.
Yeah.
Get all the Cincy folks out there to honor Pete, because they can't do it while he's alive because they're spineless and they hate people. But yeah, that'll be the thing. That's my mind. That's what's gonna happen.
That'd be a hell of a Hall of Fame weekend. That's one I would have to go to.
Mm-hmm.
You would of course make the trek, but I'd definitely go to that one. We do have to take a timeout. Jim was right. We're a little behind.
You got a manager now?
Pay the bills. We'll be back in just a second on Outside the Box Score.
If you're a fan of
Have you
local
watched
craft
the
beer, the
Charlie
only
Hustle
place you need to go
documentary
is
on
Myers
HBO?
Brewing Company.
Is it good?
It's really good. I don't know. I've never watched their doc series.
Yeah.
Apparently they do really good ones.
Oh, they do. They have great documentaries.
This one,
Does it paint him as a dick?
it doesn't do a great job. Like, so it does a great job of showing his early career and how great he was as a player, and it does really highlight the ball player.
Yeah.
It also highlights the liar.
Yeah.
And like, there's a clip where, like, right at the beginning, and after the first 10 minutes, they're highlighting, they're showing it all, and then they cut to him. They ask him about. At one point, they're like, the best one for me is where they show this is like, yeah. So they said that Tommy, like the guy who basically took the fall for his first gambling thing,
Yeah.
or whatever. They were like, yeah, you know, they said Tommy got involved with this Gold's Gym, and that's they started peddling drugs, and you might have been involved. He's like, I never got involved in the drug trade. That I never did
Yeah.
that. He's like, I never even went to a Gold's Gym. And then it instantly cuts to an interview from like 1986 where he's like, yeah, you know, so I've started going to this new gym, Gold's Gym down the street. And
Yeah.
you're like, God damn it, Pete. I want to love, like, the whole thing is like, you want to like him. It shows you the good, the great. And then you're like, he's a fraud.
Did it get into his relations with a underage girl?
It did briefly when he was confronted about it at the Phillies game.
Yeah.
When he came back and the reporter asked him about it, and he was like, hey, sweetheart, you know, I don't know anything, or babe. I think he
Yeah.
called her babe. And so afterwards, like after the game, the reporter came back because the attorney was like, you're going to have to apologize. He
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I didn't mean any offense by it. That's just how I referred to it. I didn't like the question or whatever. And he's like, I think Pete's trying to say that he's sorry. And he's like, yeah, I mean, if you took it any type of way, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, babe. Like, again, kind of does it. And you're like, God damn it, Pete. It just please, like,
Yeah.
the whole thing to me is like, the guy of Pete Rose, probably, not even probably, bad guy.
Yeah,
Just
terrible guy.
Just a piece of dog. But
yeah,
but the ball player,
unreal.
unreal. Like, even when they give him the name Charlie Hustle, everyone else is like, they're mocking you, you
Yeah.
scrub, that you're doing too much.
Yeah.
And he took it as a badge of honor. You're like,
Yeah.
yes, Pete. He was glorious in his early career.
And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Josh and I were just talking during the break about the Charlie Hustle documentary about Pete Rose on HBO. And if you want to hear conversations like that, what you can do is you can go to either Twitch, YouTube, or my Twitter account. So it's twitch.tv/marker_box. Marker_box just so happens to also be my username on Twitter. So you can go to either of those or the Score 1260 YouTube channel. You got a camera set up in here. You'll hear us talk during the breaks. And it's a different look at this show compared to what you hear on terrestrial radio. So if you want to check that out, feel free. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we have a lot of fun over there. Josh, you just set your phone up.
I did. Well, if you want a quick, well, we're in baseball. I assume we got a quicker break here.
Yep.
I'll just briefly, I can stay with baseball and go over my time in Toronto this week.
I would absolutely love to hear.
Yeah. So I
about
had
your
to,
time
I had
in
to take
Toronto.
some notes because ultimately, like we said earlier, Canadians, and I mean this with absolutely no respect, they are probably the worst overall sports fans in the world.
Okay.
Now that's a blasphemous take. Now hear me out. They love hockey. They love hockey, but I'd almost even argue that Europeans love soccer more, and the rest of the world have a stronger fandom. They murder people over it. I mean, they are intense. Now I don't know that that's good fandom or not, but they do it. It's something, and it's more than the Canadians love hockey.
Yeah.
I also went to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Very fun. They love hockey. It's very good. You get to do a booth section. It was very fun. I got to call a thing. It was fun.
I love
myself.
when places have that. When I went to Busch Stadium in St. Louis, they had the same thing for like iconic like Cardinals calls. And so I did the David Freese.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
I did the Lightning winning the cup in the COVID year. And then there's a radio segment too, even where you can do it again. And they had Rick Jenneret doing Mayday, Mayday. But they cut it off after the first Mayday. And you're like, come on. It's him screaming it for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Mayday, Mayday. Just dying in the booth. And you're like, this is horse crap. But anyways, so great time, Toronto, whatever, who cares? I was in the hotel the whole time, don't care about it. And the people, they're just there. Like we said, the game, it's not their pastime. It's not. And the game is more of just a thing to do. It's almost like if you had a show going on in town that you're like, the fair is a great example actually now. The fair's going on now. You're like,
Yep.
I might head out to the fair tonight.
Yeah.
I'll go to a Toronto game. I'm
Mhm.
in town, whatever. Some people travel in. Like I was sitting next to a beautiful old woman the first night. She was
Mhm.
probably about 65. Could be my grandmother. She's from Ottawa. And
Okay.
she was talking to me. Very nice lady. Took out my trash actually at one point. I was holding it. She goes, "I mean, put that in the trash for you." I was like, "Are you?
That's
sure?"
Canadians. They're
Very nice lady. She did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
The conversations behind me from men in the stands was a bit alarming.
okay.
A lot of talk. My dad made mention that they were talking about each other's tan lines.
Interesting.
How well they look.
Mm-hmm.
The entire game too was marked by. So it goes behind me. The 4 seats are 2 middle-aged guys,
Mhm.
young boy,
Mhm.
what I assume is the mother,
Okay.
whatever, girl.
Yeah.
And so the entire game, he's yapping about whatever. Every ball. First off, let's start with every ball hit in the air
Mm-hmm.
gets home run cheers. Potentially. I mean, it could be the biggest can of corn to the second baseman, and someone's behind you's going, "Ah!" And me and my dad would look at each other and go, "That thing never had a chance."
Never.
I
stood
mean,
a chance. It's a pop up to the catcher.
was never gonna fall. Was never
Yeah.
nothing. They just love the spectacle
They-
of ball hit bat. Oh, it's a big deal for them. So then at some points, after the Blue Jays in the first game got a big lead, they won 10-3.
Yep.
They're up by 6 at this point, and a guy lays down a bunt and bunts down to the first base line, gets on base for the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Me and my dad are like, "What a piece of garbage! You're bunting to get on base up 6 in the
Yeah.
7th inning or whatever it was."
Mm-hmm.
And the guy behind me is talking to the kid. He goes, "No, this is great. You know, this is the difference with hardball. Calls it hardball.
Uh-huh.
He's like, it's like small ball tactics they call it, and you're doing it, and you're like, are you talking about?
This is not the situation
No,
to
you're
teach your kid about bunting.
Right. Teach your kid. That's important. You said that. So he's talking to him the whole
Mhm.
time about this. And also another point, he's like, one of my favorite lines was he's like, a lot of people say that practice makes perfect. I like to think that perfect practice makes perfect. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about to this kid right now?
I've heard that line from every mediocre coach I've ever had.
Yeah. it's just bull crap coach speak.
Yeah.
And the whole time he's talking to this kid. 8th inning.
Uh-huh.
He looks to the kid next to him and goes, "So where are you from?" The mom and them were sitting next to these 2 guys who like at one point he had left. He was like, "Hey, watch our seats for us, yeah?" They were just there. They had no relation to the kid. He's talking to the kid as if he was his dad.
Oh my!
The whole game, he's doing this. That's not even the worst part. We also had aisle seats because me and my father are big men. We like to sit on the aisle.
I mean, I like to sit on the aisle.
He's taking up half the aisle. I'll be honest with you. I mean, that's just how he does not care.
Yep.
The people walking by, his leg is it's right out there.
Just firmly planted.
So we got some people walking by, they might bump into him. Oh, sorry, whatever, all
Yep.
that crap. But also, they sit. They don't care about what's going on the field.
Yeah.
So they'll walk by on the aisle, and then someone yells over there, and they're like, "Oh, where are we sitting? Where are we?" Oh, and they'll just stand up during the game. You can't see anything because they're just standing in the middle of the aisle. Now, that probably doesn't happen as much if we're not in an aisle seat. We don't see it as much, right? It doesn't affect our game.
Yeah.
But the second game specifically, we were like standing right through the aisle. We had to stare at, and so constantly we were just out of sight, couldn't see, and it was a whole nightmare. They're just totally inconsiderate, all like in that sense.
Yeah.
They're great people, obviously,
Mhm.
but and also in the second game, Reds went down 6-0, scored 10 unanswered. At one point, there is an Ellie on base. He gets second due to a deferment.
Yep.
That's very exciting. He steals third and then comes home on a play hit to shortstop that he's safe. Me and my dad are up,
Yeah.
screaming, "He's the fastest man in the world!" And my dad is screaming at the top of his lungs. Because now we're charging back.
Yeah.
It's the fun part.
Absolutely.
People are starting to look.
Mhm.
People are like, what is he doing? I'm like, we're having fun. This is the ball game.
Yeah.
That's what we do. And I'm okay with the ribbing. Like, I
Mhm.
like it that they let you do it. Like,
Yep.
no one, if you went to, obviously more intense rivalries, like if you're in New York and
Wearing a
for the Red
Sox
Sox,
jersey.
dude, yeah, and he did it, and you're doing
Yeah.
that crap, you're going to get more than looks.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Like, to a certain point, what we did was crazy.
Mhm.
I get that, but I almost kind of wanted someone to be like, "Hey, sit down, jerks," and be like,
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
kind of want that feel, and there's just no passion, Marky.
Yeah.
There's no passion. Lastly, I'll end on this. for the 7th inning stretch, of course, they're not Patriots. They have no God Bless America. So
Yeah.
they don't do that. They sing the Cracker Jack song, get out there, all that. And that,
You're the first person ever to refer to "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" is the Cracker Jack song.
they sing the Cracker Jack, but that's after they have a Blue Jays song. Are you familiar with the Blue Jays song?
I'm not familiar with the
Maybe
Blue
in the
Jays
break
song.
we can pull this up and play it for the people. It's very funny, and everyone knows it. That's the one thing they all came out for, essentially. Like, it's kind of like their "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Only
Okay,
it's-
Blue Jays.
That's the one, Fatty. Here we are. We can watch that at some point.
This is going to. This will.
They have an official music video.
Yeah,
Wow.
this will take us out to the break.
Okay, sounds good.
We're just gonna listen to "Okay Blue Jays."
I might do the dance in the studio too.
Okay, yeah. This is why you need to go to Twitch, YouTube, or Twitter. Because Josh is about to do the dance to the "Okay Blue Jays" song. So this will take us out to break.
Yeah.
"Okay Blue Jays," the 7th inning stretch song for the Toronto Blue Jays.
You'll love this. You've never seen this?
No.
You got a diamond, you got 9 men, you got a hat and a bat, but that's not all. You got the bleachers, you got them from spring till fall.
I'll tell you when it actually starts in the ballpark.
And the umpires call, what do you want?
I believe it starts there.
Play
Oh,
ball,
yeah. What do you want?
fly ball, is it a seagull? Coming in from the lake just to catch the game.
This
The
is
last inning, our guys are winning.
I hope they do the dance in the music video.
A strike, and you got no doubt. What do you want? Let's play ball. Okay.
Blue Jays. Let's play ball. And they're all doing like hand motions.
Yeah.
Blue Jays. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
There's like this.
I don't know if I should stop it or just play the whole thing.
I've never seen the. This is the official music video.
After the next "Okay Blue Jays," oh.
I mean, this is terrible.
It's awful.
Blue Jays.
Don't miss Latino Night on Saturday, August 24th.
I might have to swear in Twitter here.
That's
That
terrible.
song is fucking abysmal. I hate it. I hate having to hear it in the ballpark. And it's right before Take Me Out of the Ball Game. So like the first night we didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
We stood up thinking it was that, and then everyone around us in unison is all singing and dancing, and we're like, what the hell is happening right now? I had no clue what was going on. Absolute pandemonium in the stands. They loved it. Because the first night they were up big too. They're all going, yeah, let's play ball. Let's play ball. It is,
Okay.
you got to get a clip.
Blue Jays.
After the show, I'll show you. There's got to be a clip inside the stadium. Of
Yeah.
what they wear on it and what they do. It is wild. It is wild.
This is, this might send us on a tangent about terrible baseball songs because there's so many of them.
The NBA ones we've liked, so, like
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
the
the-
Knicks
like,
had one.
I like the Sixers one.
Sixers is great.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers.
Clap your hands, everybody. Oh, Philadelphia.
But the Red Sox, and what I'm doing right now is just a Conan O'Brien bit. The Red Sox had one in like the 70s
Okay.
that was just repetitive. Call Yastrzemski, call Yastrzemski, call Yastrzemski, call Yastrzemski. It's so bad. People go. There's a clip of the Conan bit, and people go watch that. It's so funny.
It's fucking awesome. It's scary.
And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the score 1260. After listening to one of the worst songs of all time, "Okay Blue Jays."
Let's play
Ball.
I mean, it's just a game written by people or it's a song written by people who have no idea what's happening
Yeah.
in baseball. It's very funny.
We're going to talk a little bit about college football now.
Let's please.
Because the baseball talk has devolved into madness. So there's 6 games today, but
Yeah.
4 of them that actually matter. And by actually matter, I mean, oh no, there's only 3 that you can bet on. So we'll talk about those ones. Kicking off 12 o'clock, Florida State, Georgia Tech. Florida State 10.5-point favorite, like in a neutral site in Ireland. Minus 450 on the money line. Total in that game is 54.5. I think that seems a little high.
You like the under? On
I kind of like the under with the exactly, the long travel, neutral site in a foreign country that Ireland is. You can't understand what the people are saying. It's not because they speak a different language; they're all just drunk.
What may be influencing that too is the last time we've seen Florida State, they were purely defensive teams because their quarterback was dead.
Yeah,
so
that is true. They do have a quarterback now,
right?
So that does change things a little bit. What are your thoughts on Georgia Tech this year? Because a lot of people think they're going to win like 9 games, and for me, it's Georgia Tech. They haven't been good since 1990 when they randomly won a championship. Right. People forget that Georgia Tech won a championship in 1990.
It's kind of like the Syracuse vibe for me, where like I can see all the hype. Like, we get the same hype, but like you gotta show me something. Yeah. Right. And like last year was not a show me anything.
No, they were terrible.
There's actually one of the Cowboys. The reason why I see some of the hype, one of the Cowboys safeties or DBs is a Yellow Jacket.
Okay.
Whatever. So I see a lot of buzz like, oh, the coach, this, we're good. I don't buy any of that. I really don't, especially in college football. Like I know the expanded playoff this year, right? Which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, me too.
I can't watch college football if you paid me, and I'm actually excited to watch that. So I don't see anything out of Georgia Tech. I'd like Florida State to cover, to be honest today. I just don't know what to expect from them, and I still think they're stinky. Would be my observation.
Yeah, and Florida State currently number 10 in the country. Yeah. I don't see that holding either. If Florida State gets so much hype that never gets lived up to.
Right.
And at least not since Jameis, really.
Sure.
Like, has the team been like as impactful as people thought they were going to be?
That was 10 years ago now.
Yeah, it was. Oh my!
Isn't that crazy?
We're so old, dude.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that recently. I was talking to someone about why I'm an Oregon fan, and I was like, yeah, back when Marcus Mariota was the quarterback, and they're like, wait, isn't he like a really bad backup in the NFL? I'm like, oh my god, these kids have no idea how electric Marcus Mariota was at Oregon.
Quick side note, I was doing that fair this week. I was talking to students. And I was just talking to a couple guys came up. I code switch a lot when I'm up there, so I'm just kind of yapping with some dudes. And they're like, "Oh, are you a student? Did you go on one?" I'm like, "Am I a student?" I literally did like a flake blush thing. I'm like, "Guys, stop!
Guys, stop!"
No, I'm like, I have health care. Stop! I have health insurance. Stop.
Yeah, it's just when I work at Bellevue, I just feel so old because
you're around country club guys.
Well, no, like the bag room are all so much younger. Some of these kids are in high school. They're like, in 2013, they're like 6 years old. They don't know who Marcus Mariota is.
Right.
Oh boy.
Talk about Armando Galarraga. They're like, who's that?
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest thing in the year. It's like play of the decade.
2010 was a different time, man. These kids have no idea.
The towers fell.
What?
Towers.
Montana State, New Mexico. 12.5-point favorite for Montana State. I don't know.
I have no idea what's going to happen.
Neither do I. But we do have another ACC team playing today.
Yes.
Southern Methodist University, SMU.
Welcome to the brand.
And welcome to the ACC. You're a 27.5-point favorite against Nevada to open your season.
I like Nevada. Points.
I'm just gonna bet SMU to cover.
Sure.
Strictly because it's like, all right, you're an ACC team now. Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
And people are high on SMU. People are like,
really?
Yeah. I've seen people talking about like SMU potentially like sneaky being really competitive in the ACC this year, because the team really. They've never been the same since the death penalty, and it's taken them a long time to try to bounce back. And the past couple of years, SMU's been something. They've been competitive, and maybe this move to the ACC in a weird year for the conference. People, the stalwarts are maybe a little down. The up and comers are different. It's Syracuse, and now you've got Stanford, Cal, these like interesting programs. And
Right.
I've seen a lot of people high on SMU. We play SMU this year, so I'll be interested to see what happens in that game. But yeah, they open as a 27.5-point favorite against Nevada. Week 0 of college football is very boring.
Yeah, I mean, is next week also week 0?
No, next week's week 1.
Okay, so they're only doing a couple. I thought last year like there was a lot of matchups on week 0.
Yeah, well, there's also a game tomorrow. There are games
Also through the
Thursday, Friday. It's like through the week.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a Delaware State and Hawaii play tomorrow.
The Rainbow Warriors
Yeah, the Rainbow Warriors are 39.5-point favorites
in Hawaii.
in Hawaii.
Smash them.
Yep. I love
Delaware is flying to Hawaii, and you're supposed to tell me they're not going to lose by 40. Okay.
Whatever
Okay.
you say.
Sure, mister.
We got to take one more time out. We'll come back, wrap things up here on Outside the Box Score on the Score 1260.
For the best local beer in Central New York, the only place you need to look is Myers Creek Brewing.
You know what time it is in Ireland for this game?
At both the Inner
6
Harbor and
o'clock?
Syracuse.
Yeah, I think it's
Dallas,
midnight.
that is the Casanova location.
Or no,
Myers Creek
it would
has
be 6
something
o'clock.
for everyone.
Yeah.
Want a bite
No,
to
because
eat?
I saw something earlier. It was like from this
man.
morning that it was midnight in Ireland.
I got
you. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers
I was
Creek
like, I don't
Brewing
think
Company,
that's right. I think that's
official
China.
bar.
Yeah.
Outside the Box Score.
Over 300 Mazdas to choose from. Burdick Mazda has
Oh, there's Seamus. There he is.
There he is, Seamus, sitting next to McAfee. Good Irish boy, that McAfee.
Saban's on there now, right?
Yeah, Saban. Is Corso done?
Yeah, I think so. I think last year was his last year.
Okay.
I'd be shocked if he doesn't come out, not necessarily today, but if he doesn't come out and do a guest pick
Oh, absolutely.
throughout the year.
Yeah.
At least once or twice.
Yeah. Seamus is the most Irish-looking man of all time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, buddy.
Except for the fact that he's jacked.
True. He's a brawler that you're like, oh, crap. No, I actually don't want to.
No, he's not built like an Irishman, but he's the face and the hair. He's the
Right.
most Irish-looking man.
Most of them are just scrappy that you're like, all right, I can probably take it.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy is going to.
The Irish are wiry people.
All I know about Ireland.
Or just like big, just like burly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're either Colin Farrell or Brendan Gleeson. You're one of the two people in Bruges or the Banshees of Inisherin.
Just not nice anymore.
I just don't like you anymore. Wait, what? What do you mean you don't like me anymore? We've been friends for 20 years. Don't want to be your friend.
What are they doing about? Oh, off the air. I'll tell you.
We're back, wrapping things up here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Josh, it was great to have you back in the studio.
Great to be back.
We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, not next week. I'm out.
I'm out next week too.
Sweet.
I'll be in Ohio for a wedding.
Got it.
A week from today, I will be attending the Ohio State game against the only Akron Zips.
Oh, you're going to 2?
Yeah,
OSU
I got
games.
2 OSU games in me this year. I was told I have to wear Ohio State stuff for the game against Michigan.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
But for the game against Akron, I will be buying an Akron shirt and hat. Because I've talked about this before. I don't like Ohio State at all. The only Big Ten team I like is Iowa because they're hilarious. The rest of the Big Ten I hate.
Yeah.
So I'm going to this Ohio State-Michigan game, and I'm going to be like, I just hope both teams score 0 points. Like, I don't want to see either of these teams succeed. But I have to wear an Ohio State hat to that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I do understand that.
Yeah. I was hoping to just go full Rob Lowe and go with a hat with the NCAA logo on it. Just rooting for college
With
football.
a red shirt that isn't necessarily Ohio State, but
Yeah.
just a red shirt.
Yeah, I was like, can I just wear red? And Hayden goes, no.
No.
You have to wear OSU stuff. Damn it, fine.
How you buy it for me? I'll wear it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm just going to wear one of her hats. I'm not buying any OSU stuff. Are you kidding me? Next Saturday, we won't be on, but SU starts next Saturday as well. against the Ohio University Bobcats. So we'll talk about that, recap that in 2 weeks. So make sure to come back with us then.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Josh. Thanks for everyone for listening. See you next week. 2 weeks. Peace.
Listen on radio, smart speakers, and our free mobile app, WSKO Syracuse.